And good evening, everyone. Welcome to another college basketball live stream here on YouTube at Sports Bonanza John and on Kick at Sports Kick John. Ready for a Southland Conference battle tonight between the Southland Conference leaders, Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin, and the Islanders of Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. We will preview this game in just a moment. First of all, let's pray. Lord Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for looking over us, Lord, and please protect these players, coaches, fans. Please keep everyone safe tonight, and Lord, continue to look over us and do your will among us, Lord, as we ask and pray this in your name. Amen. All right, Stephen F. Austin and Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. Stephen F. Austin, one of the hottest teams in the country right now. They come in riding an 11-game winning streak. They at 23-3 on the season. Stephen F. Austin, winners of 11 games in a row. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi coming in 14-12 overall, 10-7 in Southland Conference play. They've alternated wins and losses in each of their last 8 games. Stephen F. Austin has a 2-game lead in the Southland Conference over McNeese. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi currently in a 3-way tie for 3rd place. Southland Conference, a 12-team conference, but it's one of those conferences, they only take the top 8 in the conference tournament, so you need to finish in the top 8 in order to qualify for the Southland Conference tournament. Stephen F. Austin, with a win tonight, will clinch at least a share of the Southland Conference regular season title as they look for win number 12 in a row. This is a Stephen F. Austin team that averages 77.5 points per game while giving up just 65. Meanwhile, Texas A&M-Corpus Christi, similar. They average 73.5 points a game. They give up 68 per contest. Stephen F. Austin led in scoring this year by Keon Thompson. He averages 18.4 points per ball game. Stephen F. Austin has 3 players average in double figures. Meanwhile, Texas A&M-Corpus Christi is led by Sheldon Williams. He averages just shy of 12 points a game at 11.8. They also have 3 players average in double figures on the season. Nick Shagbonyo and Mason Gibson, the other 2 double-digit scorers for Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. Along with Thompson, Stephen F. Austin has Lateef Patrick and Narit Chodakavanik. I hope I got that pronunciation right. Double-digit scorers for the Lumberjacks, who I said come in 23-3, riding an 11-game winning streak. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi looking for seeding in the Southland tournament. As I mentioned, they come in a 3-way tie for 3rd. Folks, I got to turn down the volume. I'll be right back with you. I have to keep the sound down on the TV when I do these live stream games because that background noise be a little disruptive. So that's why I keep the sound down on the television. Apparently, I forgot to turn it back down last night. So we are just about set to go in the Southland Conference battle. These 2 teams met back in mid-December. Stephen F. Austin came up with a 69-60 win in that game. So this is the second of 2 meetings between these 2 teams from Texas. Stephen F. Austin out of Nacogdoches, Texas, and of course Texas A&M-Corpus Christi located in none other than Corpus Christi, Texas. So we are just about set as Stephen F. Austin looks to run their winning streak to 12. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi, as I said, have alternated wins and losses in their last 8 games. They're coming off a win over Lamar on Saturday. Officiating crew tonight, as assigned by the Southland Conference, Garrick Shannon, Vladimir Voyard-Tadal, and Adrian Judy. The 3-man officiating crew tonight. As we are set on a Monday evening in the Southland Conference. We'll keep you updated on all the other action around the conference tonight as well. And here's the jump. We are underway. The tip controlled by the Lumberjacks. Starting 5 for Stephen F. Austin. We'll give you here momentarily. With it on the outside is Cam Burton. Gets the start here for Stephen F. Austin. Gives it off to Krishan Christmas. Christmas looking for help. And sends it back outside. Shot clock running down here as Keon Thompson with it gives it off, and a three-pointer is good by Lateef Patrick to begin the scoring tonight for Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin goes with Jared Colonel, Lateef Patrick, Krishan Christmas, Cam Burton, and Keon Thompson, the starting 5. Islanders have the basketball for the first time. Here's Bryson Wheatfall with it. Off now to Frank Yetna. And Mason Gibson is stripped, but they're going to get a foul here on Lateef Patrick. Starting 5 for the Islanders, Sheldon Williams, Frank Yetna, Bryson Wheatfall, Mason Gibson, and Davion Houston. The starting 5 for the Islanders. Islanders inbound here with a fresh 20 on the shot clock. On the outside with it is Davion Houston. Houston drives, gives it off now to Wheatfall. Wheatfall driving inside, getting underneath, missing the layup, and the rebound pulled down by Christmas of the Lumberjacks. 3-0, and a little out of control there, but getting bailed out with a foul. And there will be 2 free throws coming here for Stephen F. Austin as Jared Colonel will head to the line. Foul is called on Sheldon Williams. That's his first. So Gerald Colonel heading to the line. It's a 5-point per game scorer, just a 55% free throw shooter on the season. First of 2 is good. One more free throw coming for Colonel. And got that as well. Stephen F. Austin out to a quick 5-0 lead. Nearly a minute and a half old. Here come the Islanders up the floor with Houston. Now with it is Sheldon Williams. Williams sends it back outside. Here's a three-pointer. That's an air ball. And it looks like we are going to have a foul on the rebound against the Islanders. This is going to go against Davion Houston. That'll be his first. Stephen F. Austin on this current 7-game winning streak. If you're the Islanders, you're not going to be able to dig yourself an early hole here and try to get out of that. Here come the Lumberjacks on offense. With it now is Lateef Patrick. And now outside for an open three-pointer that rims out. Rebound pulled down by the Islanders, but they throw it out of bounds as they were trying to drive down the court. Looked like some miscommunication there between a couple of the Islander players, and we have our first turnover. I beg your pardon. They say that was, excuse me, I must have said that was tipped. I didn't see it tipped. It looked like it just went out of bounds, but they're giving the ball to the Islanders. And this time it is going to be a turnover on Corpus Christi. On a traveling violation. So we have an early substitution. Yetna will get a breather for the Islanders. Islanders scoreless the first 2:15 of this game. Here come the Lumberjacks up the floor. Patrick on the outside. Lateef Patrick draws a double team, gets it off now to Colonel. Colonel, and that ball knocked out of bounds by the Islanders. It will stay Lumberjacks basketball. Inbound it comes to Keon Thompson. Thompson driving, now will lean in and get the ball knocked away. Patrick gets the loose ball, and he will score on the jumper in the paint. Latif Patrick with 5, and it's a quick 7-0 lead for Stephen F. Austin. Davion Houston with it for the Islanders. Houston gives it off now to Wheatfall. Wheatfall over to Williams. Working it around the arc are the Islanders. Back it comes to Wheatfall at the top of the key. Passes over to Mason Gibson. And the drive inside, and the shot is stuffed. And we are going to have what? Senker Evron went in to try to get the layup, but his shot was blocked by Colonel. It's like they're calling it out of bounds, Islanders basketball. Daniel Michelini Jackson just checked in for the Islanders. He will inbound. And gives it off. Nice reverse layup there, but can't get it to fall. And it will stay Islanders basketball as Davion Houston couldn't get that reverse layup to go. Corpus Christi will keep it. Under the basket inbound here. And we have got a foul on the inbound going against Stephen F. Austin. It's like they're going to get Latif Patrick on the foul. That'll be his first. So early substitutions on both sides here. Islanders bring it in to Sheldon Williams. Williams off now to Houston. Going inside to Jackson. Jackson, a bounce pass. And the turnaround with the left hand is good by Senker Evron for the first 2 points of the night for the Islanders. Took 3.5 minutes, but they're finally on the scoreboard. Now a double team outside. Lumberjacks get it out, and they're going to hit a three-pointer. Cam Burton with the 3 in front of the Islanders bench, and it's 10-2 Stephen F. Austin. Here come the Islanders. Nice pass from Evron. Shot rejected from behind as it looked like Mason Gibson had an easy layup. And back the other way comes Stephen F. Austin. And now here's another three-pointer. That one's too strong. Rebound pulled down by Corpus Christi. Daniel Michelini Jackson brings it up the floor. Gives it off to Houston, who will lay it in with the left hand. Davion Houston gets his first 2 points of the game, and it makes it a 10-4 game in favor of the Lumberjacks. Here's Thompson. Thompson slips, will now shoot and misfire. Rebound pulled down by the Islanders. Houston. Pass goes inside. And lacrosse court pass. Here comes a 3 at the top of the key that is short. Rebound pulled down by Stephen F. Austin. Here's Keon Thompson. Thompson now driving. Thompson gets in the paint. Up and under layup is no good. That was not a great shot as he was guarded well underneath. And back come the Islanders. And the layup up, no good, a little too strong. And we are going to have a foul on the rebound, which will bring us to our first timeout at the 14:38 mark of the opening half. Lumberjacks off to a 10-4 lead over Corpus Christi. 5.5 minutes in. Again, Stephen F. Austin with a win tonight will run their winning streak to 12 And actually, I was incorrect when I said they could clinch a share of the conference title with a win tonight. That is actually not accurate. There are still 4 games left after this one. Southland Conference plays a 22-game conference schedule. I think one of the only conferences in the country that plays a 22-game conference slate. Got a big game in college basketball tonight coming up at the top of the hour. It is in Ames, Iowa, between the now number 2 Houston Cougars and the number 6 Iowa State Cyclones. Surprised to see Iowa State drop a spot this week, but that's what happened. They dropped from 5 to 6. Houston went from 3 to 2 at the half. We will run down the new top 25 poll that came out earlier today. Also run down scores from around the country. Southland Conference scoreboard. So following the timeout here, it'll be Islanders basketball. And they get it in, and a corner 3 off the inbound is too strong. Rebound pulled down by the Lumberjacks, and back the other way they come. And now setting the offense is Stephen F. Austin. Nice bounce pass inside, and the layup is good. Great feed there to Krishan Christmas, who gets his first 2 points. And it's a 12-4 lead for Stephen F. Austin. With it now on the outside is Jackson. Working it around the arc. This is Evron. Evron sends it out to Cam Parker. Parker now over to Jackson, and the Islanders almost turn it over, but it's knocked out of bounds by Stephen F. Austin. It will stay Islanders basketball. 3 on the shot clock. They're going to have to put it up pretty quick here out of the inbound. Inbound comes right here, and now a long 3-pointer off the back rim. Rebound pulled down by Stephen F. Austin. Good defensive series that time for the Lumberjacks. Here's Ahmed Mohammed with it over to Elisis. And going inside, almost turning it over, but a nice save by the Lumberjacks. And now driving inside, and a major rejection. That was swatted into the first row by Kobe Pearson. A monster rejection by Pearson. Seven on the shot clock for Stephen F. Austin. And here's the inbound to Christmas. Shot clock down to 3. They're going to have to launch a 3-pointer here. It's off the back rim, and it is rebounded by Corpus Christi as Evron comes up with it. Islanders 7 minutes in, stuck on 4 points. Inside to Evron. Evron draws a double team. Long pass is too long and thrown into the first row, and a turnover for the Islanders. That was a dangerous cross-court pass there, and it was too far, and a turnover. Christian Green inbounds for Stephen F. Austin. It's up now to Muhammad, who crosses the midcourt stripe. Muhammad on the drive, gets in the paint, kicks it outside for a wide open three that rims out, and a one-handed rebound for Corpus Christi for Yetna. Yetna now with it on the outside. Here's Cam Parker. Parker, the bounce pass to Yetna. Yetna spins, gets in the paint. Yetna lost the handle and turns it over. Back-to-back turnovers for the Islanders. Will give the ball back to Stephen F. Austin. So a good defensive performance in the first 8 minutes for Stephen F. Austin, holding Texas A&M-Corpus Christi to 2 of 11 shooting. Crossing the midcourt stripe with it is Stephen F. Austin, and driving the layup is up and good. Keon Thompson with his first 2 points, and it is a 10-point lead now for the Lumberjacks at 14-4. Corpus Christi needing a basket. Layup right there is too strong by Sheldon Williams. And rebound to Stephen F. Austin. And a driving layup, that's too strong. And the Islanders come up with the rebound. Islanders need a bucket here. Open three-pointer, that is good by Nick Shangbonyo. And that stops the drought for the Islanders, and it makes it 14-7. Lumberjacks with it on the outside. Here's Colonel. Jared Colonel looking for help, now trying to drive. Instead, gives it off now to Christmas. A three-pointer on the way now is good from Latif Patrick. Patrick's second three-pointer. He's got 8 in the early going for the Lumberjacks, and their lead is back to 10 at 17-7. Islanders with it here on the outside is Yetna. Yetna looking for help. Gives it off to Shangbonyo. Outside to Yetna for a three-pointer. That's off the back rim. No good. And nothing but black jerseys underneath for the rebound. Keon Thompson over now. Here's another three-pointer. That one's too strong by Shauna Kavanik. And a stoppage of play, which will bring us to the under 12 timeout. 17-7. Quick start for the Lumberjacks tonight. 10-13 remaining in the first half. Updating some of these scores. McNeese, the second-place team in the Southland Conference, trailing first-place Stephen F. Austin by 2 games. They're up 14 at Northwestern State, closing stages first half. Again, we'll update the full college basketball scoreboard coming up for you at the half, and also run down the new top 25 poll that came out earlier today. Number 3 Duke is blowing out Syracuse 63-37 at Cameron Indoor, that game in the second half. With 13 minutes remaining. And as I said, the big battle coming up in Ames later on between number 2 Houston and number 6 Iowa State. But the Lumberjacks here, 17-7. They're shooting 6 for 15 from the floor. Islanders just 3 of 14 shooting. As they're in a cold drought here to start this game. Both teams have been called for 3 team fouls as we are just about the halfway point of the first half. So it'll be a Lumberjacks inbound underneath the basket here following the timeout. By the way, right before that under 12 timeouts, Sheldon Williams of the Islanders picked up his second foul. Off the inbound, the quick jumper's an air ball, but it's offensive rebound for Stephen F. Austin. 10 to shoot as that previous shot didn't hit the rim. Keon Thompson looking for help. Gets it off to Patrick. Patrick will launch a deep three and good as the shot clock expired. Latif Patrick with 11 for Stephen F. Austin, and they lead it now 20-7. Houston with it on the outside for the Islanders. Houston puts it up with the left hand, too short. Rebound Stephen F. Austin. A baseball pass ahead, a little out of control there. And back come the Islanders the other way. With it on the outside now is Mason Gibson. Islanders working it around the perimeter. Now we'll get an open three. That's too strong. Offensive rebound by Evron. And a fresh 20 for the Islanders. Shot up and blocked. And Stephen F. Austin comes out with the ball. That's their third block here in the first half for the Lumberjacks. Driving inside. Now trying to back his way in is Thompson, but he lost the handle and turns it over. Islanders the other way. Kick out, and that's going to be a foul, it looks like. That'll be the fourth team foul on Stephen F. Austin. It will be on, I believe they got Christian Green on that foul. Inbound for Texas A&M-Corpus Christi underneath the basket. On the inbound here. And getting inside and putting it up with the left hand. That's no good. Rebound pulled down by Thompson. Back come the Lumberjacks. There's a almost steal, but Thompson retrieves and gets it off to Patrick. And the Lumberjacks reset. Patrick to Christmas. Christmas trying to turn, instead gives it back outside to Patrick. 7 to shoot. Patrick drives. Patrick gets inside and will miss the layup. Out of bounds off Stephen F. Austin. It will go to the Islanders. Islanders will bring it up the floor. Islanders need some points here. There's a deep three-pointer. That is too strong. Rebound to the Lumberjacks. Corpus Christi now 3 of 19 from the floor. And a drive off as too strong off the glass, but we are going to have a foul. And it will be 2 shots coming following the under 8 timeout with 7:36 to play in the first half. Second foul on Davion Houston. Stephen F. Austin at the line, up 20-7. So a good start for the Lumberjacks in this one, trying to push their winning streak to 12 in a row. As mentioned, these two teams fighting for position. Stephen F. Austin fighting for the conference title. This is a Southland conference that only takes the top 8 in their conference tournament. So if you finish 9 through 12, you do not qualify for the tournament in the Southland. And it's got that format in their tournament where the higher you finish in the regular season, the bigger of a bye you get. The top 2 seeds in the Southland Conference get an automatic bye into the semifinals. That's the way they kind of reward you for winning the conference and for finishing second in the conference. Seeds 3 and 4 will get a first round bye, and if you finish 5 through 8, you got to play that extra first round game. That's why it's very beneficial in this conference to not have to play that first day. So a rough shooting start here in this game for the Islanders. You can credit Stephen F. Austin's defense for a lot of that, as their defense has been phenomenal so far in this first half. So 2 free throws here following the timeout. First is up and good. One more free throw coming, and that one will rattle in as well. 22-7. Stephen F. Austin in front. This is Leo Torber who checked into the game once again for the Islanders with it now. Gives it off to Jackson, Michelini Jackson. On the outside, over it goes to Wheatfall. Wheatfall now will pull up from just to the left of the foul line. That rims out. The shooting woes continue for the Islanders. 3 of 20 for 15% in this first half. Lumberjacks bring it up the floor. Almost a steal there. And working it around. And now an open three-pointer is too strong. Rebound pulled down by Corpus Christi as we are now under 7 minutes to play here in the first half. Pearson. Now on the outside is Michelini Jackson. Michelini Jackson goes inside to Everan. Everan back outside, working around the perimeter. A three-pointer. That's no good. Corpus Christi now 1 of 9 from beyond the arc. Mohammed off into the corner. And a nice spin move to get inside and putting it in with the right hand. And it is now 24-7. Stephen F. Austin. Torber. Looking for help, gets it over to Kobe Pearson. And now Everon. And we've got a foul underneath. I think that's going to go the other way. And it is. That's going to be on Daniel Michelini Jackson on an offensive foul. So the offensive struggles here in the first half continue for Corpus Christi, and it looks like we're going to have a timeout called here. 6:01 to play in the first half. It is 24-7. Stephen F. Austin in front. Islander head coach Jim Shaw not too happy with that last offensive foul called, and he just got teed up. Jim Shaw said the magic word, it looked like, and he just got teed up. He was not happy with that foul call. He was having a discussion with the officials, and it looks like he said the magic word there at the end, and it got him teed up. Jim Shaw still discussing the free throw up and good from Cam Burton. And he will have one more. And that is also good. So Burton hits the 2 technical free throws. So that gives him 5 points. Jim Shaw has to be frustrated with his team's offensive showing in the first half as well. And it will be Stephen F. Austin ball. Up the floor comes Muhammad. Muhammad gives it off to Elises, kicks it outside for an open 3 that is good. And it is 29-7, Stephen F. Austin. Islanders looking for just something offensively. Give them something to build on here at halftime. The drive inside shot, no good. We're going to have a foul on the Lumberjacks. I believe they're going to get Marcus Scurry on that foul. It's team foul number 5 on Stephen F. Austin, so it will be an under the basket inbound. In it comes. There's an open 3-pointer there, but it was passed up. And instead, Shangbonyo resets. And now the drive inside, but quickly getting cut off was Michelini Jackson. Michelini Jackson off to Shangbonyo. Turnaround jumper is good for Nick Shangbonyo for just the 4th field goal of the half for the Islanders. And it makes it 29-9. Under 5 to go, first half. Muhammad with it. Nice pass. And it'll be a layup, no good by Elises, but he draws the foul. And he will shoot 2. Looks like they're going to get Jaden Hare on the foul. First free throw up and good. One more free throw coming for Gediminas Elises. He rimmed that one out. That's Stephen F. Austin's first miss from the line. They have made their first 7. Shangbonyo on the outside for the Islanders. Shangbonyo over to Evron. Working it around the perimeter. Here comes an open 3-pointer. That is short. Rebound pulled down by Stephen F. Austin. Corpus Christi now 1 of 10 from beyond the arc. And driving and getting fouled is Elises. He will head right back to the free throw line. Fouls on Mason Gibson. That's his first. And Elises, who just split a pair of free throws, is heading right back there. First is no good. He's now 1 of 3 from the line. Substitution in for the Islanders. Sheldon Williams returns. Elises misses both free throws, but nope, it will be Islanders ball as it is knocked out of bounds by Stephen F. Austin. Coach Shaw giving another stare down to one of the officials. He got teed up a couple minutes ago. Here's Everett on the outside. Gives it off now to Houston. Houston with it now on the outside. He will try a three-pointer. That's no good. Rebound pulled down by Stephen F. Austin. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi now 4 of 24 from the field. .345 and counting to play here in the first half. It is all Lumberjacks. Nice pass inside. Thompson with the reverse layup, and it'll go down. Keon Thompson with another field goal. Up the floor come the Islanders. Sheldon Williams with it on the outside. Gives it off to Davion Houston. Houston looking for help. Gets it over to Mason Gibson. Gibson on the drive. Lost the handle and will turn it over. 5th turnover for the Islanders. 3:11 to play in the first half. It is 32-9. Stephen F. Austin leading Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. Late first half. Hi, Menfisto. I think you were with me last night, weren't you? Good to have you again. Yes, this is on Restream. I'm still fairly new, and this seems to be the easiest program for me to use right now. I've tried a couple other programs, and they're a little bit out of my realm of whatever, understanding or whatever. So this seems to be the easiest one to use. I'm not exactly the most tech-savvy person in the world. I'm doing well, Menfisto. Good to have you here tonight. Hope your Monday went well. Looking at the numbers in this one, Stephen F. Austin, 43% shooting, 10 of 23. They are 5 of 11 from three-point range at 45%. 7 of 10 at the free throw line for 70%. Numbers offensively for Texas A&M-Corpus Christi, all you can say is ouch. 4 of 24 from the floor. That is 17%. 1 of 11 from 3. That is 9%. Going for the Cyclones tonight, are you, Menfisto, over Houston? Well, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and pick that one since I'm not doing that game tonight. I do like the Cyclones tonight. I was really surprised to see them drop a spot in the poll this week. Not that the poll is just for talk, but I didn't quite understand why they dropped, but reminder, coming up at the half, we will run down the college basketball scoreboard, scores from around the top 25 in the Southland Conference, break down the new top 25 poll that released earlier in today. And if I have time, after all that, give you the latest bracketology update, getting into that time of year. Lumberjacks bring it up the floor, and Keon Thompson on the drive puts it up, missed it off the bottom of the backboard. Rebound pulled down by the Islanders. Open three-pointer, that is another miss. Islanders keep it alive, though. Michelini Jackson with the offensive rebound. Everett now gives it off. Islanders looking for a good shot. They turn it over again. And back comes Stephen F. Austin with 2.5 to go in the half. Open three-pointer on the way. Back rim, no. Rebound pulled down by the Islanders. That's Sheldon Williams with the strong rebound. And a layup up and in, counted, and a foul. And that might be what Texas A&M-Corpus Christi needs to jumpstart their offense. It's an and one opportunity for Cam Parker. And the Islanders finally able to get to double digits. Yeah, Menfisto, this has been a terrible first half offensive performance for the Islanders. Free throw up and good. It does complete the three-point play. Lumberjacks bring it up 20 as we near the 2-minute mark here in the first half. And the jumper in the paint, that's too strong. Rebound pulled down by the Islanders. If they can somehow get this thing to about 12 or so by halftime, they're going to feel a lot better about it. Evron sends it outside to Houston. Bounce pass to Evron. Evron, nice bounce pass there. And the turnaround jumper too strong. Tip won't go. Another tip will. I didn't see who got that tip in. 5 straight here for the Islanders. Lumberjacks trying to answer at the other end. Open 3, and the corner is good by Latif Patrick. That's his 4th 3 of the half. He's got 14. And the lead back to 21 at 35-14. Michelini Jackson with the bounce pass inside. That ball's knocked out of bounds. It will stay with the Islanders. 15 on the shot clock, 1:13 remaining in the half. Inbound it comes to Davion Houston. Houston gets in the paint, pull-up jumper short, and we are going to have a foul on the rebound. This looks like it's going against the Lumberjacks. That's the 6th team foul, but they are calling it a shooting foul, so Evron will be at the line for 2. I'm sorry, excuse me. That was the 7th team foul, so this is a 1-and-1. Free throw, no good. And Lumberjacks come out with the ball. Under a minute, first half. The turn off the glass, strong move up and in. From Krishan Christmas, that's his 2nd field goal. Here's Davion Houston. Houston throws up the runner, and it goes down. Davion Houston with his 2nd field goal. He's got 4. Shot clock is off. Stephen F. Austin can run this down for the final shot of the half. They're going to use their use it or lose it first half timeout here with 24.7 on the clock here in the first half. It is all Stephen F. Austin here in the first half, 37-16. Stephen F. Austin can and probably will run this down for the final shot of the half. Shot clock is off. So following the timeout, Lumberjacks bring it in, and they are going to run this down. Down to 15 seconds. This is Keon Thompson just out, just across the midcourt arc. Down to 10. Thompson still dribbling around midcourt. Now will drive. Thompson kicks it outside. Patrick for a three. That's short. He's had the hot hand here in the first half. Three-quarter court heave at the end of the first half is off the backboard. And that brings an end to the first half. A first half dominated by the Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin. And at the half, it is 37-16. Stephen F. Austin over Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. Good offensive performance plus a whale of a defensive performance in the first half for Stephen F. Austin to hold the Islanders to 16 first-half points. And it is a 21-point lead for Stephen F. Austin as they try and stretch their winning streak to 12 in a row. And they're in good shape to do that now. Up by 21 at the half. Well, earlier today, the new top 25 poll was released. And let's go ahead and run down that new top 25. And a new number one team this week, and that is the Michigan Wolverines, as Michigan picked up all but one first-place vote. So Michigan, your new number one in the poll this week. Up a spot to number two is Houston. They got the other first-place vote. Up one spot to number three is Duke, and Duke is annihilating Syracuse tonight. So Duke at number three. Arizona, who was number one last week, unanimous number one 3 weeks in a row, they fall to number four. They fall 3 spots after being undefeated. Arizona losing twice last week to Kansas and to Texas Tech. So they fall from number one to number four. And rounding out the top 5, up a spot to number 5, are the UConn Huskies. At number 6, dropping a spot, are the Iowa State Cyclones. They've got the big game with number 2, Houston. That game just about to tip off here in about 15 minutes. Biggest jump of the week from 13 to 7, a 6-spot jump. The Purdue Boilermakers looks like they're starting to play well again. They hit a little bit of a funk there in January, but looks like they're starting to play well for Coach Matt Painter again. They're up 6 spots this week to number 7. Up a spot to number 8, Kansas. Kansas knocking off Arizona last week, handing them their first loss of the season. Dropping 2 spots to number 9 are the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And dropping 2 spots to number 10, rounding out the top 10, is Illinois. 11 through 15, moving up a spot this week to number 11 is Gonzaga. Up 2 spots to number 12, the defending national champion Florida Gators. They look like they're starting to play like the Gators of last year. They had that little bit of a slow start this year, but Florida's really been getting their act together here. Up 3 spots this week to number 13, Texas Tech, thanks to that win in Tucson over Arizona over the weekend back on Saturday. And number 14, moving up a spot, the Cavaliers of Virginia. And rounding out the top 15, taking a 5-spot drop this week, the Spartans of Michigan State. They have not been playing quite as well here as of late. Michigan State was absolutely thumped by Wisconsin this past week. So they dropped 5 spots to number 15. 16 through 20 also dropping 5 spots this week to number 16, the Tar Heels of North Carolina. They had that loss to Miami earlier in the week. Number 17, standing pat at number 17 this week is St. John's. Standing pat at number 18 are the Billikens of St. Louis. Vanderbilt stands pat at number 19, and up a spot into the top 20, the Arkansas Razorbacks. And rounding out the top 25, 21 through 25, up 3 spots this week to number 21, the Louisville Cardinals. They're starting to play well in the ACC. Up a spot to number 22, the remaining undefeated team in college basketball, the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. They move up a spot from 23 to 22, and incidentally, on the stream tomorrow night, I will have the undefeated Redhawks of Miami of Ohio against UMass. That is going to be 7 o'clock tomorrow night. As long as Miami of Ohio stays undefeated, as long as my work schedule works out, I'm going to have every Miami of Ohio stream here forward, again, as long as they stay undefeated. Rounding out the rest of the top 25, and dropping up to spots number 23, the BYU Cougars. Back into the top 25 this week at number 24, the Wisconsin Badgers, thanks to that win over Michigan State. And rounding out the top 25 at number 25, back in the poll this week, the Crimson Tide of Alabama. So that is your new top 25 poll. Yeah, Manfisto, Iowa State. Yeah, unfortunately, this game's they were only an hour apart, and I had already committed to this one. So, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that Houston-Iowa State game tonight. Definitely will be watching it after this game concludes. And in this game, it is 37-16, Stephen F. Austin over Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. Duke is about to close out a blowout win over Syracuse under a minute to go. It is 98-64 for Duke over Syracuse. Duke, tell you what, Duke very well might be looking like the best team in the country right now. That is a very good Blue Devils team for head coach John Shire. And Duke looks like, if they keep this up, looks like they could make a deep, deep run in the NCAA tournament this year. Got some good ones going on in the Southland Conference tonight. Lamar and UT Rio Grande Valley. That game is tied at 45. 12 and a half minutes left to go in that one. 47-39 lead for New Orleans over Incarnate Word. That game underway in the second half. 15-15 left to go in the second half in that one. Going to be a battle these last 2.5, 3 weeks of the regular season in the Southland Conference. Battle for positioning. Again, the Southland Conference takes only the top 8 into their conference tournament. So you need to finish in the top 8 if you want to qualify for the Southland Conference tournament. I'm not a real big fan of conferences that don't allow every team in. But that's the way they do it. Just like I know it'd be difficult for conferences like the Big Ten that have, 18 teams now, but I mean, you're the ones that invited them in. So, I think you need to figure out a way to make sure all your teams are able to play in the conference tournament. (37-16) at the half in this game. Stephen F. Austin leads. Let's run down the first half stats. Stephen F. Austin, 12 of 29 shooting, 41% from the floor. They were 6 of 14 from three-point range at 43%, 7 of 10 at the free throw line for 70%. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi ends the first half 7 of 32 for 22%, 1 of 13 from beyond the arc at 8%. They were just 1 of 2 at the free throw line. Rebound edge, Corpus Christi did have the rebound edge of 4 at 24-20. Corpus Christi turned it over 7 times in the first half. Stephen F. Austin only turned it over twice in that first half. Leading the way for Stephen F. Austin, Lateef Patrick, he almost single-handedly outscored Texas A&M-Corpus Christi in the first half. Lateef Patrick, 14 points in the first half on 5 of 10 shooting, 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. 5 points apiece from Cam Burton and Marcus Scurry, 4 points out of Krishan Christmas and Keon Thompson. 2 points from Jared Kernel and Ahmed Mohammed, and 1 point out of Jadiminus Alesis. Leading the way for the Islanders with 5 points in that first half, Nick Shangbonyo off the bench, 4 points out of Davion Houston, 3 points out of Cam Parker, 2 points apiece from Sheldon Williams and Senker Everon. As Corpus Christi only had 5 players score in that first half, and they are in a big 21-point hole, 37-16 here at intermission. Well, steering clear of college basketball for just a moment, let's give you the latest update from out there in Milan Cortina and the Winter Olympic Games. As we are down into our final week of competition, Norway still leading the overall medal count with 28. Host country Italy still sits second at 23. United States now alone in third with 19 medals, 6 of those gold. Japan with 18 and Germany with 17 round out the top 5 on the medal count. Earlier today, semifinals in women's ice hockey, the United States shuts out Sweden 5-0. So the U.S. women's hockey team will be playing for the gold. They will be taking on Canada. Canada with a 2-1 win over Switzerland. So it will be the United States and Canada for the gold medal in Olympic women's hockey. That will be coming up on Thursday. Sweden and Switzerland will be competing for the bronze in women's ice hockey. We did have a American win gold in the women's monobob bobsled final. Elena Myers-Taylor takes home the gold by 4/100ths of a second over Germany's Laura Nolte. So we got an American gold there. Figure skating pairs final. The gold goes to Japan's Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara as they take the gold in pairs figure skating. Action continuing tomorrow in Italy. Men's ice hockey resumes tomorrow. We got some gold medals in biathlon and bobsled. Skiing and snowboarding finals, and one of my favorite events has 2 gold medals on the line tomorrow. That is speed skating, the men's and women's team pursuit. So that's the latest from the Winter Olympics in Italy. It is now a final at Cameron Indoor. Duke 101-64, the final over Syracuse. Duke continuing to, well, I tell you what, Duke's not only winning games, they are just blowing people out. They did have that loss to North Carolina last week. But, I mean, outside of that, Duke is just blowing out everybody. The Blue Devils third in the poll this week. Houston and Iowa State just about to tip off in Ames. New number 1 team in the country, Michigan. They're in action tomorrow against Purdue. That is a top 7 matchup there at Mackey Arena tomorrow. And like I say, I will be on tomorrow night for the undefeated Miami Redhawks going up against UMass. See if the Redhawks can remain undefeated. The teams heading back to the benches as we are getting ready to start half number 2 between Stephen F. Austin and Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. 21-point lead for the Lumberjacks with 20 minutes to go. So here we go. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. You don't figure they're going to have a 22% shooting half, 2 halves in a row. Will they have a run or two in them here in the second half? We will find out. Or will Stephen F. Austin run their winning streak to 12 in a row? It'll be Stephen F. Austin ball to inbound here to begin the second half, and we are underway. Lumberjacks with it here on the inside. Pass outside for a wide open 3 that is good by Cam Burton to open the second half. And Stephen F. Austin with their largest lead of the game at 24, 40-16. Working it around the outside are the Islanders. Bad pass and a turnover. 8th turnover of the game for Corpus Christi. Inside turnaround shot too strong. And that's going to be an over-the-back foul on the rebound on Stephen F. Austin. So the first foul of the second half goes against the Lumberjacks. As we are a minute old here in the second half, almost a minute old. Islanders bring it up across the midcourt stripe. Sheldon Williams, he will drive inside and get the layup underneath. Sheldon Williams with his second field goal. He's got 4. 40-18. Krishawn Christmas with it. Over now to Cam Burton. Burton finds Keon Thompson. Thompson turns, and that's going to be an offensive foul, it looks like, on Keon Thompson. So Thompson called for the push-off on the off arm. Islanders with it. Sheldon Williams. Back outside it goes. And the spin inside layup is good. Leo Torber with his first 2 points. And the lead is 20. Pass inside. Great feed underneath the basket. The turn with the right hand is good. Great turnaround with the hook shot there. 42-20. An inside shot rejected, but we're also going to have a foul on Stephen F. Austin. And it'll be 2 free throws coming. They got Colonel for that foul, which they did. That is his 3rd. And to the line goes Sheldon Williams. First of 2 is good. Elisus returns to the lineup for Stephen F. Austin. Second free throw is also good. Lumberjacks bringing up the floor with Keon Thompson. And now the drive inside. Nice bounce pass and the easy layup underneath the basket. (44-22). Pass knocked away and almost stolen. Islanders able to maintain possession. Sheldon Williams. Williams trying to get free. Now will drive inside, throw it up. Too short. Rebound pulled down by Stephen F. Austin. Islanders thought there was a foul underneath the basket, but no whistle. Spin move in the paint. Now the off-balance shot is too short. Rebound pulled down by Corpus Christi, but then they lose the ball on a steal and a layup. No. Rebound to the Islanders. There have been a lot of missed layups for both teams tonight, I will say. Foul on Stephen F. Austin there was against Latif Patrick. That's his second. And here come the Islanders. Corner three-pointer is good. Just the second three of the night for Corpus Christi. Daniel Michelini Jackson converts from long range. Islanders get it down under 20. It's 44-25. Elisis with it on the outside for Stephen F. Austin. Gets it off to Christian Christmas. Back outside it goes, and that's going to be a turnover as it goes off of Stephen F. Austin out of bounds. And it will go back to the Islanders. Islanders trying to go on a mini run here, and a layup is up and good from Leo Torber, and a little mini run here for Corpus Christi. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi only had 16 points at halftime. They've already got 11 here in the first 4 minutes of the second half. And an offensive foul on Stephen F. Austin on the inbound will give it back to the Islanders. Pass underneath. Here's Williams. That'll go down. And here come the Islanders as it's down to 15, 44-29. So with just under 16 minutes to go, timeout is called. 44-29. Islanders on a little bit of a run here to try and get back in this one. 15:45 to play. Islanders have pulled their shooting percentage up to 32%. Still got some close games around the Southland Conference. Lamar and UT Rio Grande Valley in a 2-point game with 7 minutes to play. New Orleans up 9 on Incarnate Word with 8:20 to go. McNeese is having their way with Northwestern State tonight, 73-51. So McNeese looks like at the worst they're going to stay 2 games back of Stephen F. Austin in the Southland. McNeese came in solo second place, 2 games behind the conference leaders from Stephen F. Austin. Houston Christian at the half in front of Nichols, 35-29. They are underway in Ames, Iowa. The Cyclones have jumped out to a 10-5 lead over Houston. Here, Islanders have gotten on a mini run here to try and claw their way back in this. It's 44-29. And now off the inbound, it's knocked out, and we have the under 16 timeout now. Again, don't forget tomorrow in college basketball, top 7 matchup, Michigan and Purdue. Michigan, the new number 1 this week. Top 7 matchup at Mackey Arena tomorrow between the number 1 Wolverines and the number 7 Boilermakers. Give a shout out to my buddy named, is it Manic? Lisantis, is that how you pronounce that? Lisantis, is it Manic? Give a shout out to you out there, Manic. I hope I got that pronunciation right. Glad to do it. Appreciate you all tuning in tonight, and we'll see if the Islanders can make a run here to get back in it. They're on a mini run right now. And Stephen F. Austin will inbound out of the timeout. That was almost a backcourt violation on the inbound, but a nice save by the Lumberjacks. Latif Patrick with it on the outside, ball knocked away. Patrick recovers, gets it inside, and the shot rejected underneath. It will stay Stephen F. Austin ball with 5 on the shot clock. Good rejection there by the Islanders for Frank Yetna. Off the inbound three-pointer, that's an air ball. Rebound pulled down by the Islanders. Chance to get even closer. They almost turn it over. But they recoup. Shagbonyo with it. Shagbonyo on the drive. Layup is good and one. Nick Shagbonyo with a chance to cut this to 12 with the free throw. Foul is on Keon Thompson. That'll be his 3rd. So a couple Lumberjacks with 3 fouls now. As Shagbonyo tries to complete the 3-point play and does. 44-32. This is as close as the Islanders have been in quite a while. And now they're putting a little bit of press on the inbound here. Lumberjacks able to break it, and we're going to get a foul. Oh. Leo Torberg got called for the foul, and he is none too pleased with the foul call. That's his second. Yeah, they showed the replay. I didn't see much there as far as contact, but Torberg gets called for the foul. Here's Patrick. Patrick with a nice bounce pass inside, and the shot in the paint is up and good for Elisis. He's now got 5, and it's 46-32. Shogbonyo kicks it outside. And now the spin inside, losing the ball is Yetna, but gets it back and scores. 46-34. As we near 14 minutes to play. Outside is Patrick. Patrick with 10 to shoot. Patrick drives up. No, but he draws the foul. And Patrick will head to the line to shoot 2. Blansky, I'm watching this game. It's on ESPN Plus. So if there's a little bit of a lag, which I know there is, that's why we've got this built-in delay on ESPN Plus. I'm watching it through the ESPN app specifically. First free throw up and good. One more coming for Patrick. He's had a good game tonight, 15 points. Second free throw, that's short. Rebound to the Islanders. Islanders down 13. Just under 14 minutes to play. Shogbonyo on the drive, kicks it outside. And now Sheldon Williams drives, puts it up with the left hand and gets it to go. Sheldon Williams, the first Islander in double figures, and it's an 11-point game, 47-36. Here's Elisis. Here's Patrick now. Patrick drives. Patrick up and scores. Patrick with 17. That's a big answer for Stephen F. Austin, 49-36. Sheldon Williams on the outside, now looking to drive. Williams gets cut off, reverse. That was a bad angle. That was not a good shot from Sheldon Williams. Bad angle underneath the basket. Back come the Lumberjacks. Patrick lost it, but right there to back it up is Elisis, and Patrick gets it back with 10 to shoot. Patrick kicks it outside. Three-pointer is good. And just like that, the lead is back to 16, 52-36. Torber sends it outside. That's a 3, and that's good. Answer there for the Aggies on the 3. 52-39. $12:23 to go. Lumberjacks bring it in. There's some press shown by Corpus Christi. I thought that was a three-pointer, but they've got 52-38. So I guess that was only a two-pointer from Yetna. Runner inside is going to go down. And that pushes the lead back to 16 again at 54-38. Cam Parker sends it outside for an open three. That one's going to go. That's definitely a three-pointer. 54-41 and a timeout called. And that will also be the under 12 timeout. 54-41. Stephen F. Austin over Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. Still plenty of time. Daniel Michelini Jackson just hit that last three-pointer. So the Islanders, a much better second half here, especially offensively. Down 21 at the half. They have cut it to 13 here. They had it down to 11 at one point. Minute and a half to go between Lamar and UT Rio Grande Valley. That's a three-point game, 65-62. Do I bet on games? I do not. I am not the betting type. I'm not into that. I'm just doing it just for the love of basketball and all sports, really, for that matter. As once going to be college basketball, once basketball season ends, get into the baseball groove. There's going to be I do all kinds of sports here on this channel, so just out of passion. But yeah, no, I am not in the betting portion. Okay, and I actually have a scoring update, which is what I thought. That previous basket, three baskets ago, from Texas A&M-Corpus Christi from Yetna, that I thought was a three-pointer. They scored it as a 2. They have gone back and have given Yetna a 3 on that. So it is 54-42. The lead is 12 for Stephen F. Austin. If Texas A&M will donate $100, well, God love you. They have cut it to 12 here. Still plenty of time. 11:46 to go. This will actually be an and one opportunity, too. I failed to mention that going into the timeout for Daniel Michelini Jackson. Chance for a 4-point play, and he converts. And this is as close as the Islanders have been. They added to 11 at one point earlier as well. That's where it is now, 54-43. Marcus Scurry will bring it up the court for Stephen F. Austin. Off to Elisis. Elisis drives inside and scores. Elisis now has 9. And so far on the Islanders' runs, the Lumberjacks have had an answer each time, 56-43. Here come the Islanders on offense. Much more productive offense here in the second half. Inside, off the glass, no. But there will be 2 free throws coming, as Bryson Wheatfall will head to the line. Lansky, who do I think will win the tournament this year? You know what? The way they're playing right now, Duke sure looks like the best team to me right now, the way they're playing. So I like assuming they're on opposite sides, I think Duke and Michigan are on pace to be in the championship game right now. They to me, look like the two best teams in the country right now. First free throw was good. Second by Wheatfall is good as well. And the lead is 11 once again, 56-45. Up until last week, Arizona was definitely looking like the best team, but they did show last week there's a couple of vulnerable spots. And the Jayhawks and Red Raiders expose those. With it here are the Lumberjacks. Open three-pointer, no good. Offensive rebound, however. And the putback, no. Rebound Islanders. They can get this down to single digits for the first time since early in the first half. Shagbonyo outside for a three, around and out. That thing was halfway down and came out. Rebound to the Lumberjacks. Keon Thompson with it. Thompson on the drive. Thompson off the glass, counted, and a foul. Keon Thompson with a bucket and a chance for a three-point play. Foul is charged to Bryson Wheatfall. That'll be his first. And Thompson with a chance to complete a three-point play. Let's see. Duke relies on Cam Boozer too much for them to win the tournament. That is true. They're probably going to have to get a little bit more balance outside of Boozer, especially when you get into tournament play. That is true. But just the way they've been blowing people out recently. Sheldon Williams drives inside and scores for the Islanders to make it 59-47. That's a dozen now on the night for Sheldon Williams. Just past the midway point here in the second half. Keon Thompson. Ooh, that was almost a turnover for the Lumberjacks. Able to maintain possession. Lumberjacks have only turned it over 5 times on the night. They've been very effective protecting the basketball. 5 to shoot. Pull a turnaround jumper. That's not a good shot. And knocked out of bounds off of the Islanders. It will be Stephen F. Austin ball. Inbound it comes to Patrick. Patrick goes inside. Shot no good by Thompson underneath. Rebound pulled down by the Islanders. Here comes Corpus Christi outside. And a corner three-pointer on the way is good. That's Shagbonyo. And this is a 9-point game with 9:10 to go. First time it has been a single-digit deficit since early in the first half. Keon Thompson will bring it up the floor for the Lumberjacks. Thompson on the drive, and we've got a reach-in foul from behind. Believe they're going to get Leo Torber on that, and that'll be his third. Get hype and bias. Well, that's the one thing I don't do on this channel. That's almost a turnover. Now driving inside. Nice pass underneath. Shot is blocked. The turnaround it's banked in, but it's too late. It's a shot clock violation, which will give it back to the Islanders. But thank you, though, Lanky. I appreciate that. 8:36 remaining, 59-50. Stephen F. Austin. They're actually looking at this, I think, just to make sure it is a shot clock violation, and it is. The shot looked like it was well past the shot clock running out on the replay. Houston's taken a 5-point lead over Iowa State, 26-21, and there is the official call, shot clock violation. So a chance for the Islanders to get even closer. Still 8.5 to go here. Plenty of time. As Chongbonyo crosses the midcourt stripe for Corpus Christi. Chongbonyo driving inside, shot off the back rim. No, kept alive by the Islanders. And Chongbonyo has a three. Got it! And this is a 6-point game. Chongbonyo has 14. As close as this game's been since the first 3 minutes. Runner, no. Rebound, Islanders. They can make this a one-possession game with a three. Chongbonyo on the outside. On the Islanders logo. Now we'll drive. Kick it out. Here's another three. No. Rebound to the Lumberjacks. That was well long on that three-point attempt. Stephen F. Austin the other way. Layup is blocked, but there's also a foul. And it will be 2 shots for Patrick after the under 8 timeout. 7:33 to go. All of a sudden, we've got a ball game here. 59-53. Stephen F. Austin's lead down to 6. They will be at the free throw line on the other side of the timeout. (68-65) lead for UT Rio Grande Valley over Lamar with 13 seconds to play. New Orleans it's gone final. New Orleans has picked up a 78-64 win over Incarnate Word. McNeese up 73-64 on Northwestern State, under a minute to go in that one. So McNeese will stay in second place in the Southland, and Houston Christians build a 14-point lead over Nichols, 51-37. Other scores around the conference. Midway point of the second half in that game between Nichols and Houston Christian. Break down the best case scenario. You're talking about this game, or because we still have to see. There is 7.5 left, but the question is, as I always say, whenever there's a game like this, did the Islanders dig themselves a wee bit too big of a hole to completely climb out of? Islanders have outscored the Lumberjacks by 15 here in the second half. But Stephen F. Austin is on an 11-game winning streak, so they know They definitely know how to close out ball games here. They've had a couple tight ones. They had to pull it out late against East Texas A&M, so we'll see what happens here. 2 free throws here for Latif Patrick. He hits the first, and the second is also good. Patrick now with 17. Or excuse me, Patrick now has 19. 61-53. Islanders bring it up the floor. Bad pass and a turnover. That was into a lot of traffic, and it cost the Islanders that time. And Patrick will back it out for Stephen F. Austin. Patrick almost lost it twice that time. 7 minutes to play. 10 on the shot clock. Patrick drives. Patrick will put up the tough shot and get the roll. Patrick with 21 as he scored 4 straight out of the timeout. Lumberjacks back up 10, 63-53. Yetna with the basketball for the Islanders. Here's the bounce pass inside to Michelini Jackson. Back outside now. Back over to Yetna. Yetna drives. Yetna spins. Yetna is fouled, and he will head to the free throw line. So Frank Yetna heads to the line. Only loss in conference play for the Stephen F. Austin team is to the second place team, McNeese. First free throw rims out. One more coming for Yetna. Oh, we're going to have a lane violation here, but Yetna made it anyway. That would have been a lane violation on Stephen F. Austin had that shot been missed. 63-54. 6:20 and counting here in the second half. Keon Thompson. Thompson gives it off now. Spin move inside, no good. Offensive rebound for the Lumberjacks and a fresh 20. Lumberjacks will slow it up and back it out. Drive, shot, up, no, but a foul is called. And that will send Stephen F. Austin to the line. Both teams are in the penalty. First free throw is good. Second free throw on the way is also good. Lead is 11 for the Lumberjacks. Here come the deep three around the rim and out. And the rebound is saved by Stephen F. Austin before it goes out of bounds. Thompson spins. Thompson left-hand layup is good. And the lead is back to 13 for Stephen F. Austin. Keon Thompson now with 11. 67-54. Couple substitutions here. Torber and Evron check back in for the Islanders. Inbound it comes to Houston. Davion Houston. Off to Torber. Torber finds underneath Yetna, and Yetna gets the layup. 67-56. 5 minutes remaining. Thompson. Outside it goes, and the Lumberjacks slow it up and run the offense from the outside. Pass inside is not a good one, and it's out of bounds. It will stay Stephen F. Austin ball. Lumberjacks to inbound underneath the basket. And it comes to Patrick. Patrick in the corner. Now Patrick drives. Patrick, nice dish and the easy layup to Gerald Colonel. His first field goal of the night. Great feed from Patrick. 69-56. At the other end come the Islanders. Layup off the glass and in, and one for Leo Torber. Leo Torber's been showing quite the emotion tonight, good and bad, and showing good emotion there. Colonel picked up his fourth foul. And Leo Torber with a chance to complete the three-point play. Free throw is no good. Bounced on the rim a couple times, out of bounds. What do we have here? It's Islanders basketball. There was a battle for the ball. Torber and Chodikavanik went after it, and the ball went out of bounds off Stephen F. Austin near the Corpus Christi bench. So the Islanders will keep it. Islanders have it. Down 11. And pass outside, nearly turned over. And now they do turn it over. Stephen F. Austin gets the steal. That's turnover number 10 tonight for the Islanders. 4 minutes to play. Keon Thompson with it. He is just dribbling near the midcourt stripe. Thompson. And the pull-up jumper here is off the rim. Tip, no. Patrick fighting for the loose ball, but it comes up in the hands of the Islanders. Houston, outside three-pointer, too strong. Rebound, Stephen F. Austin. Keon Thompson will walk it up across midcourt. Lumberjacks going to use a little bit of clock here. Thompson backs it out. Finds Patrick. Patrick on the drive. Left-hand layup. That's no good. Good defense underneath the basket for the Islanders. And the shot, and turnaround shot inside is good for Sinker Evron. 69-60. Down under 3 minutes. Patrick dribbling. Patrick gives it off down to Gerald Colonel, who's in still with 4 fouls. And now over to Keon Thompson. Thompson spins. Thompson gets inside with the left-hand layup, and it drops. Keon Thompson has 13 and a quick timeout. 71-60. Stephen F. Austin, 2:35 remaining. Can the Lumberjacks hang on and win for the 12th consecutive time? They're 2.5 minutes away from doing so. With 6.5 to go, that Nichols-Houston Christian game has gotten interesting. That is now a 1-point game, 53-52. Iowa State leads Houston in that top 6 matchup, 34-30. Final 3.5 minutes of the first half in that game from Ames. Updated numbers here. Stephen F. Austin shooting 45%. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi 42%. But they have really improved that shooting percentage here in the second half. A 44-point second half for the Islanders after having just 16 at halftime. Stephen F. Austin, 8 of 18 from beyond the three-point arc, 44%. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi, 6 of 22 for 27%. If Stephen F. Austin closes this out and wins their 12th in a row, they will look for their win number 13 in a row coming up Saturday. They're back at home taking on Nichols. Islanders following this game will be in action Saturday as well. They will travel to second place McNeese. So Islanders taking on the first and second place teams in this conference back to back here late in the season. Corpus Christi to inbound out of the timeout. Time starting to become a little bit of a factor as we're down to 2.5 minutes. Houston. Nice pass inside, and the layup is good for Yetna to make it 71-62, and we have a foul on the inbound, and this will be a 1-and-1 as Thompson will head to the line. Free throw is no good. Missed the front end of the 1-and-1. Islanders back the other way. Counted and a foul. Layup is good by Houston, and he draws a foul. Foul is on Lateef Patrick. That's his third. And Davion Houston heading to the line to try to make this a 6-point game with 2:19 to play. Free throw is good, and this is a 6-point game with 2:19 to go. Elisis returns for the Lumberjacks. Let's see if the Islanders set up some press here on this inbound. Slight press. And it almost created a turnover. And now we have a foul. Well, that was almost disaster there for Stephen F. Austin, but it is a foul on Leo Torber. That's his fourth. So Torber becomes the fourth Islander to reach 4 fouls. And this is still 1-and-1 as Keon Thompson heads to the line. He missed the front end of the 1-and-1 just prior. And this time he hits the front end. Lead back to 7. 2:11 to go. Ahmed Mohammed checks back in for Stephen F. Austin. Second free throw is also good. 2 big ones that time for Thompson. 73-65. Two minutes to play. Houston. And now on the drive inside, layup, no, but it's tipped out, and an open three-pointer is good. And that cuts it to 5 as Houston now in double figures with 10. 73-68. 100 seconds remaining. Lumberjacks wanting a good shot here underneath. Corner three-pointer is off the back rim. Offensive rebound for the Lumberjacks, and the layup is good for Mohammed. A good, big second chance basket for Stephen F. Austin. And it's 75-68. Three-possession game. Islanders need to go in a little bit of a hurry now as we're down to 75 seconds. Houston on the drive. Houston lost the dribble momentarily, but regroups. And now Houston underneath. Shot blocked and saved by Stephen F. Austin. That may have been the game-sealing block right there as we're under a minute. Thompson with it, and now the Islanders going to have to foul, and they do, with 53.3 to go. So it got a little shaky here in the second half. We saw the Islanders make a couple runs here. What a tale of two halves for Corpus Christi. 52 points here in the second half after being held to 16 in the first half. Double bonus both ways, so it's 2 shots the rest of the way. Free throw up and short. And a timeout called here with 53.3 seconds to play. Stephen F. Austin up by 7. Trying to close out their 12th win in a row. And move to 24-3 on the season. Both teams in the double bonus. If we do have a held ball, the possession arrow favors Corpus Christi. Islanders have 2 timeouts remaining. Lumberjacks have 1. One more free throw coming here following the timeout. So Keon Thompson back to the line for one more. Free throw is good. 76-68. Islanders bring it in, 50 seconds to go. And the Islanders just kind of taking their time up the court. You got to go. You're down 8. Houston gives it off to Williams for 3. Tried to bank it in, no good. Rebound pulled down by the Lumberjacks. And there's the foul at 34.3, and that may just about do it. Keon Thompson going right back to the free throw line. Chance to put this game on ice for Stephen F. Austin. First free throw is good. And now another timeout called here. With the spread at 9 rather, with 34.3 to go. Folks, once this game concludes, probably going to sign off here pretty quick. I'm going to run down the final stats real quick and then probably do a quick sign off. And get ready for another live stream tomorrow night. Three minutes to go in Houston. Houston Christian leading Nichols 62-61. That's the other conference game still going on. 2 free throws for Thompson. He's now got 18 on the night. 10-point lead for Stephen F. Austin, final 30 seconds. Houston gives it off here. Three-pointer is short. Ball tipped out of bounds. It will go to the Lumberjacks. With 19.4 to go, shot clock is off. Oh, Lanky, appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, have a good night, and hopefully you can back and join me again tomorrow night. Here's another foul from the Islanders. So Stephen F. Austin withstands a couple charges from the Islanders here in the second half, and they're going to get out of here with a win and win their 12th in a row. First free throw is no good. One more coming. With Keon Thompson had a lot of free throw opportunities here. Misses both here. He's now 8 of 12 at the line. Final 15 seconds. Sheldon Williams. And stepping in the passing lane for a steal, and he's not going to. There was an easy breakaway dunk there, but Thompson does not do it, and he just dribbles out the clock. And the final score tonight, Stephen F. Austin 78, Texas A&M-Corpus Christi 68. Stephen F. Austin wins their 12th in a row. They improve to 24-3 overall, 17-1. In Southland Conference play, Texas A&M-Corpus Christi falls to 14-13 overall, 10-8 in Southland Conference play, and they fall out of third place. They were in a third-place tie with UT Rio Grande Valley and Nichols. UT Rio Grande Valley won earlier tonight. So best case scenario now for the Islanders, they will be tied for fourth with Nichols. Could fall to fifth if Nichols pulls that game out tonight against Houston Christian. That will drop them into a tie for fifth with New Orleans. 78-68, Stephen F. Austin, the final score. Quickly, let's run down the final stats before I sign off for the night. Lumberjacks end up 45% shooting, 26 of 58 from the floor. They were 8 of 19 from three at 42%, 18 of 26 at the free throw line for 69%. For the Islanders, 26 of 62 shooting for 42%, 7 of 25 from three-point range at 28%, 9 of 12 at the free throw line, 75%. Slight rebound edge tonight for the Islanders, 38-36. 11 turnovers for Corpus Christi tonight, 6 for Stephen F. Austin. Leading the way tonight for Stephen F. Austin, they put 2 in double figures, led by Lateef Patrick's 21. Keon Thompson added 18 tonight. 9 off the bench for Jadiminus Elisis, 8 out of Cam Burton. 6 points out of Krishan Christmas. 5 points out of Marcus Scurry, 4 points apiece from Jared Kernel and Ahmed Mohammed, and 3 out of Narit Chuk and Kanavik. I hope I'm getting these names right. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi, they put 3 in double figures tonight, led off the bench by Nick Shagbanios, 14 points. 12 points out of Sheldon Williams and 10 points out of Davion Houston. 8 points out of Frank Yetna, 7 points out of Daniel Michelini Jackson, 6 for Senker Ivron. 2 points apiece from Bryson Wheatfall and Leo Torber to round out the scoring for the Islanders tonight as the Lumberjacks win it 78-68 over the Islanders of Texas A&M-Corpus Christi. Again, Stephen F. Austin now 24-3 overall, 17-1 in the Southland Conference. Their winning streak now goes to 12 in a row. Islanders fall to 14-13 overall and 10-8 in Southland Conference play. Both teams with 4 games remaining in the regular season before the conference tournament gets underway. It's going to wrap it up tonight on the live stream. Again, my name is John, Sports Bonanza John on YouTube. If you like my content, really would appreciate a like and subscribe. Also on Kick tonight at Sports Kick John. Also have some content on Twitch at Sport Guru John. You can follow me there as well. One more reminder, tomorrow night, undefeated and 22nd ranked Miami of Ohio up against UMass. Next college basketball stream, that is tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. I always do Eastern Time because that's where I'm located, so that's why I always use Eastern Time. 7 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow. Can the Miami Redhawks stay undefeated? They're the last remaining undefeated team. They will take on UMass. UMass gave them a game earlier in the year as Miami only won that game by 2 points on their home floor. So UMass looks to play spoiler to Miami's undefeated season tomorrow night. Got that on the live stream for you tomorrow night. That's going to wrap it up. And hopefully tune in tomorrow night for Miami of Ohio and UMass. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a great rest of your